Good morning, everybody. So today we're going to work on continuing with fraction and whole number multiplication. But our goal today is to be able to find the product of a fraction and a whole number without using a model. Okay, so we're on page 315 of the 5th grade Go Math textbook. So let's look at the unlock the problem. Charlene has 5 1-pound bags of sand, each a different color. For an art project, she will use 3/8 pound of each bag to create a colorful sand art jar. How much sand will be in Charlene's sand art jar? All right, so how much sand is in each bag? 1 pound. And will she use all of the sand in each bag? No, she's only going to use 3/8. All right, so we are going to start by showing the model, what that would look like with the model, but we're also going to then transfer it over into a multiplication expression and solve it that way. So we have 5 times 3/8. We have 5 sets of 3/8. So we could shade in 3/8 of 5 rectangles. Okay, so we have 5/8. I'm sorry, we have 3/8 shaded 5 times. Now we can rearrange those 3/8 to fill as many holes as possible. So we have 3, 6, 8, right? We have 8 here. We have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Well, I know I can fill all of one. Okay, so that's 8 of the 15. That means I have 7 left, right? So if I use 3, 6, if I use those 8, I have these 7 left. So what do we have? We have 1 and 7/8. So using the model, we can get 1 and 7/8, right? But what would that look like with just a multiplication expression? So let's look at this. Again, we said 5 times 3/8, 5 sets of 3/8. Multiply the number of eighth size pieces, 3, by in each hole by 5. So 5 times the number of pieces or eighth size pieces in each hole. So 5 times 3 is 15 eighths. Now we don't want to leave 15 eighths as a fraction greater than 1. So we're going to divide it, right? Well, how many 15s can be divided by 8? Well, I can only get 1/8 from 15 with the remainder of 7. So 1 and 7/8. 1 and 7/8. So basically all we did was say 5 times 3, right? 5 times 3, 15 over 8. Okay. Let's look at our next example. So multiply a whole number by a fraction. Kirsten brought in 4 loaves of bread, sliced bread, to make sandwiches for a class picnic. Her classmates used 2/3 of the bread. How many loaves of bread were used? So we have these 4 loaves, right? And we're going to say that they used 2/3 of the bread. So think I can cut the loaves into thirds and show 2/3 of them being used. Okay, so let's cut each loaf into thirds. And we're going to shade 2/3 of each piece. Okay, so now we're going to rearrange the number of shaded pieces into as many holes as possible. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I know I can put 3 of them there. 3, 6, 7, 8. So how much do we have? We actually have 2, and 2/3 loaves of bread were used. So what would that look like if we just set up a multiplication expression? We want 2/3 of 4. So multiply the 4 by the number of third size pieces in each hole. Then we're going to write the answer as the total number of third size pieces. So we have 2 third size pieces times 4 holes. Each of the holes have 2/3 being used. So multiply 4 times 2, and they're out of third size pieces. So 4 times 2 is 8/3. 8/3 of the bread was used. 2, 4, 6, 8. 2 times 4, 8. Now we don't want to leave the 8/3 as a fraction greater than 1. So 8 divided by 3 would be 2. And 3 times 2 is 6. Subtract, we would be left with a remainder of 2. So 2 and 2/3. Okay. All right. So would you have the same amount of bread if we had groups of 2/3 of a loaf? If we had 4 groups of 2/3 of a loaf. 4 groups of 2/3 of a loaf. 4 times 2/3. Yeah, well, yes, we would have the same amount because 4 times 2/3 is the same as 2/3 times 4. That's simply the commutative property of multiplication. Okay. So the order in which we multiply factors will not change the product. So we're going to get 8/3 in either one of them. All right, so let's practice these without using the model and see if we can figure these out. So we have 4 sets of 7/8. So take the 4, multiply by the number of 8th size pieces, and 4 times 7 is 28 8th size pieces. We're not going to leave 28 eighths like that with a fraction greater than 1. So how many 8s can we take from 28? We can take 3, because 8 times 3 is 24, with a remainder of 4. So 3 and 4/8. But we can reduce 4/8, right? Half of 8 is 4, so 3 and 1/2. Does that answer make sense? Well, we're multiplying 4 times a fraction less than 1, right? If this was 1, we'd say 4 times 1 is 4. Okay, well, 7/8 is less than 1. My answer is less than 4, so that is reasonable. 5/9 of 12. So take the number of 9th size pieces and multiply by 12. 5 times 12. Well, 5 times 10 is 50. So 2 more 5s would be 10 more. So 60/9. We're not going to leave 69ths that way. So we're going to divide by 9. I can get 6 9s from 60. That would be 54. And I'd have a remainder of 6. So 60 9ths is the same as 6 and 6 9ths. But I can reduce 6 9ths by dividing by 3. So I get 6 and 2/3. Okay. All right, find the product and write the product in simplest form. So we have 3 sets of 2/5. So we're going to multiply 3 times the number of fifths, and we would get 6/5. We're going to write that answer as a mixed number by dividing 6 by 5. We'd have a remainder of 1, so 1 and 1/5. Okay. Number 2, 2/3 times 5. Take the 2 third-size pieces, multiply by 5, and we'd have 10 third-size pieces. Divide the 10 by 3 to make it into a mixed number, and we'd have 3 and 1/3. So 10/3 is the same as 3 and 1/3. 6 times 2/3, we're going to take 6 and multiply by the number of third-size pieces. And 6 times 2 is 12. So we'd have 12/3. And 12 divided by 3 is 4. 5/7 times 4. So multiply the 4 by the number of 7th size pieces, which is 5. And we'd have 20/7. So 20 divided by 7, we'll turn it into a mixed number. 2 times 7 is 14, with a remainder of 6. 2 and 6/7. Number 5, 3/5 times 11. So multiply 11 by the number of fifth size pieces, 3, and we get 33/5. 33 divided by 5 is 6, with a remainder of 3. So 33/5 is the same as 6 and 3/5. 3 is prime, 5 is prime, and 3 is not a factor of 5. 3 times 3/4. So 3 times the number of fourth size pieces will give me 9/4. 9 divided by 4 give me 2 with a remainder of 1. So 9/4 is the same as 2 and 1/4. Number 7, 5/8 times 3. So multiply the 3 by the number of eighth size pieces, 5, and we get 15/8. 15 divided by 8, we get 1 with a remainder of 7. So 1 and 7/8. All right, number 8. What halves times 8 equals 4? Well, isn't half of 8 4? So this has to be half. So the missing number is a 1. The numerator is 1, 1/2. What number times 5/6 is 20? So remember, we're doing this. Some number times 5 over 6 will give us 26. Well, what number times 5 is 20? 4. So that has to be a 4. Some fraction times 18 is 3. Well, 18 divided by what is 3? 18 divided by what equals 3? Six. So 18 divided by 6 is 3. So our missing denominator is 6. Number 11. Patty wants to run 5/6 of a mile every day for 5 days. 5/6, 5 days. Keisha wants to run 3/4 of a mile for 6 days. Who will run the greater distance? All right, well, 5 days of 5/6 for Patty would be 5 times 5 over 6. So she's going to run 25/6. And Keisha is going to run 6 days and 3/4. So that's going to be 6 times 3 over 4. And she's going to run 18/4. Well, 25/6 is a fraction greater than 1, so let's divide, and we get 4 and 1/6. So Patty ran 4 and 1/6 miles. Keisha, 18 divided by 4 is 4 and 2/4. And 4 and 2/4 is the same as 4.5. Well, remember, as the denominators get smaller, the pieces are getting bigger. So a half is bigger than a sixth. So Keisha did. And number 12. A baker made 5 pounds of dough. He used 4/9 of the dough to make sandwich rolls. How much of the dough is left over? So 5 times 4/9. So 5 times 4 divided by 9. 20/9. So he used 2 2/9 pounds. So how much is left? Well, what's 5 minus 2 2/9? We're going to rename the 5 as 4 and 9/9. And 4 take away 2 is 2. So he has 2 7/9 pounds of dough left. Okay, so what we did right here first was find out how much he used. And he used 20/9. So how much was left over? We had to subtract. All right, number 13. A caterer wants to have enough turkey to feed 24 people. If he wants to provide 3/4 of a pound of turkey for each person, how much turkey does he need? 3/4 for each person, and he wants to feed 24 people. All right, so we need to find out how much turkey he needs. We're going to use multiplication because we're going to find 3/4 of 24. I'm sorry, we're going to find 24 sets of 3/4. What information are we given? 24 people and 3/4 of a pound per person. So solve the problem. So we're going to have 24 times 3/4. So that's going to be 24 times 3 1/4 pieces. 24 times 3. 3 times 4 is 12. Regroup as 1 10 and 2 ones. 3 times 2 tens is 6 tens, plus the regroup 10, 72. So 72/4. We're not going to leave 72/4 like that. So let's divide. How many 4s can I take from 7? 1. With a remainder of 3 tens. Trade that for 31s and bring down the 2 ones. 4 times what is 32? 18. So 72/4 is 18. He needs 18 pounds. So caterer wants to serve 24 people, 3/4 of a pound of turkey each. He will need 24 times 3/8 or 72/4 or 18 pounds of turkey. All right, and 14. Julie is using this recipe to make salad dressing. She plans to make 5 batches of the dressing. She has 4 cups of vegetable oil. Write a multiplication expression to show how much vegetable oil is needed for 5 batches. So we're going to say 5 batches times, look at the recipe, and the cups of vegetable oil is 3/4. So every batch needs 3/4 cup. So we're going to multiply 5 times the number of 1/4 pieces to get 15/4. 15 divided by 4 would give me 3 with a remainder of 3. So 3 3/4 cups of vegetable oil is needed. Does she have enough for 5 batches? Yes. She has 4 cups. She only needs 3 3/4. Yes. 3 3/4 cups is less than 4 cups. So she has enough. All right, so that's it for how to multiply fractions by a whole number without using a model. In our next lesson, we're going to be working with multiplying fractions, 2 fractions together. So until then, I will see you soon.